bunch of misfits I ever said either.
Good morning, Misfits. You are tuning into another episode of the Misfit podcast. On today's episode, we welcome the newest Misfit, Erica Folo. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see that I'm not where I normally am. We had some technical difficulties, and the audio and video for this one won't be as good as they normally are, but it was a really good interview, so we tried to salvage the cloud audio. You'll actually notice right when the episode starts, Erica makes a comment about an issue with the storage on her phone, which led to her high-res version not being recorded, blah blah blah. But it's a really cool episode. We'll obviously get the chance to have her on again, but hope you guys enjoy.
Low storage device warnings on my phone.
We'll get it figured out. As always, before we get started, we will do housekeeping, then we will do live chat. Misfit Athletics programming is available on Strivey and Fitter. If you head to the link in bio on our Instagram, you can get signed up for any of our programs there. If you are looking for our affiliate program, you can head to teammisfit.com, click on the sign up now button, and get a 2-week free trial of our affiliate programming at StreamFit, Push Press, or SugarWOD. A little bit of a sneak preview for our next episode. The Wolf phase begins Monday, July 7th. You can also head to sharpentheaxeco.com and get your new Misfit Athletics logo tees and hoodies. All right, Erica, we do something called live chat to start the episodes where, I mean, it's supposed to be like not CrossFit, just some kind of anecdote to get the ball rolling. The three of us live in a CrossFit gym essentially, so it's okay if it has like I'm just saying this now because mine is very closely related to CrossFit. Hunter and I will go first, give you a little bit of an idea of how it goes. Then you can let us know what's going on in your life. I got to give the people an update on Project Lollipops. Erica trying to shoulder press 225 in 2025. I got a left shoulder impingement that is not agreeing with my training right now. So my solution is I'm going to gain weight. I'm going to see if I get up over 200 pounds and then start mass moves mass.
You're not wrong.
It's true. It's true.
So we'll see how that goes. I partially, this has happened to me a few times now. I got some blood work back that was not great on my like cardiovascular markers. So I changed my diet, but I kept my calories up and I keep losing weight, even though my calories are up. So I got back down to, I just, like, it's embarrassing to say, especially with Hunter on the podcast.
Okay.
I got down to 189 again.
Welcome to my humble abode.
196 right now, but that's like fully clothed. I actually checked before the podcast when I was in the bathroom. So I'm gonna add a little beef, and see if I take a couple weeks off of pressing, if I can get back into it.
Okay.
Am I doing what I should be doing in terms of rehab, my dead hangs, things of that nature? Maybe, maybe not.
Is that a diagnosed impingement? Is that a self-diagnosis, or did you see somebody?
Yeah, it's weird. It's very localized, and it's mostly just like a certain point in my pressing, like closer to my lockout. I get like pain in the back of my shoulder. It's not like, part of me wants to try and train through it, and then part of me is like, you old bastard. Your back's fucked, your knees fucked, like just don't. But I don't know, it doesn't seem to be like feeling better, so it could be like I'm not moving it enough to kind of get the blood flow in there that I need to. But yeah, that's my meathead solution. I can't press right now, or at least I'm not pressing for a couple weeks, so I'm gonna get up closer to 200 pounds, and then we'll get into Erica's nutrition at some point, I think, probably on this.
Am I gonna have to tell the members of Misfit?
Yeah, like, do not listen to what I say.
3 miles of the fucking gym, I swear to God, do this workout 7 times. Are you gonna train, or are we just training eating?
Oh yeah. I'm still getting after it on the C2 bike, still spinning around on my actual bike, that kind of thing. But I haven't been lifting, and I'm an incomplete human when I'm not moving my barbells.
Yeah.
I'll get back out there. I'll probably start back up next week. That's my goal.
Nice.
I'll walk into the gym, 198, 199, and the bar will fly. Or
189, buried.
Buried.
Yeah, obviously.
So what is your shoulder press before? What was it before?
I think my lifetime PR is 205. I've never trained it specifically, and my other goals are probably not happening with how my back responds to like a lot of Olympic weightlifting, back squatting, stuff like that. So I was like, this is one that's left that I can actually do. I would say, I think I did 5 during my last block. I think I did 175 for 7, which for me, I'm like 1 rep all day in things. I used to say that I programmed 1secondwad.com because if it just takes a second, I'll beat a lot of people. So my pressing endurance has gone up. I'm guessing right now 215 maybe.
Okay.
Range. That would be my guess.
Only 10 pounds. It's fine.
Yeah. So I think it's very doable. The only thing that gets in my way when I do stuff like this, like I was gonna run a marathon and I fucked my knee up to the point where it was hyperextending when I was walking downstairs. And the physical therapist was like, "You didn't run before, and then you started running like 40 miles a week." And I was like,
Yeah.
Fucking
well, that's great.
Any other brain busters?
Yeah, wonder why your femur is all bruised. So I think that would be the only thing that would get in my way, which is currently happening. But we'll see if I can train through it. It's not bad enough that I could
push through. Yeah. But is shoulder press a strict press or push press? Like what is a shoulder press?
Strict press.
Strict press. Okay.
Yeah.
So what would that be for girls? 25, 70% is
155 is usually like the equivalent.
Wow. Yeah, I definitely couldn't strict press that.
Yeah, push press.
That's impressive.
Be like 315.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Dang. Okay. Yeah. That's a big push press.
I have again one second. If it takes me just
a
second, I'm good to go.
One lift.
Hunter, what you got going on?
I have been on a brief hiatus from golf as a result of my inability to conduct myself like an adult on the golf course.
We get a putter throw?
Dude, no. Like I have not. I mean, I've done a light toss of the club, like back at the bag sort of thing. Not overly egregious, but yeah, man. The mental game is weaker than I would like to admit. I would say playing a really poor 9 holes and then like being frustrated walking to the 10th tee and then actually walking off the course after an errant tee shot is like, that was where I was at. And I was like, you need to stop for a day and a half.
You calm the fuck down.
And yeah, I need to calm the fuck down. And I was talking to my girlfriend about it and I was like, I'm not, she was like, why don't you just not keep score? Like go out there and just like have fun. And I'm like, shut the, what the fuck did you just say to me? I was like, I'm not capable of like playing well is fun. Like whether or not you're actually keeping like score or not, because I'll go out and play practice rounds, but like playing well, like hitting the ball well, snatching well, like going to the gym and having a good workout, that's fun. Like going out and losing or playing poorly is not fun. And it's like, and I cannot write the score down, but like if you think that I don't have like, I know what my score is, like you're out of your mind. Like I'll keep track of that in my head. And I was just like, you need to pump the brakes for your own mental sanity. Because it was not fun. It was becoming not fun. And it should be fun.
Incorporating a high noon. So
dude, I just don't I don't play with
Ryan Whitney is close to a scratch golfer. I'm aware that was a professional athlete, so that's like
Ryan Whitney, the hockey player?
Yeah. He's close to a scratch golfer, somewhere in that range. And he said that there's a pocket. There's an amount of alcohol that shuts your brain off and you can play golf. I'm just saying like one.
Yeah, that's fair. One, I don't find that it helps, but two, also based on the amount of golf I played, incorporating a single high noon would turn me into an alcoholic. So I'd have a new problem. Which at this point, that might be a better.
Wants to hear that. What you just
said.
That's fair. That I see on Instagram of the guys making their like homemade transfusion, and it's like a gallon.
Yeah.
Half
of its vodka. I'm like, what are these people doing?
Yeah. No, I don't. It doesn't improve the game. Although I haven't drank on the golf course. I might indulge in other substances from time to time if it's a friendly match, but it doesn't help. That's with the full acknowledgement that the game is not going to get better. But we after walking off the course on Saturday morning and then not playing at all on
I love that
Sunday,
for you.
which is like absurd. Yeah, it was like took me back to my like young athletic days. Like I was the kid who cried when we lost like community sports. Like I only scored 4 goals and we lost. Like I was a terrorist.
The
Broke
amount of
PlayStation
crying,
controllers.
crying in little boys sports is remarkable.
Yeah, it's
It is.
incredible.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and golf may have brought out the fact that maybe I just never grew out of that.
There you go. All right.
I'm just a gigantic infant. Yeah,
You just changed sports.
Yeah, that's my life, Chad, is that I'm a poor sport who needs to take a break from something he enjoys doing because he's a poor sport.
Erica, what you got?
What's up, Eric?
Well, to add to the poor sport, one of my friends, he's an avid golfer and he has broken many clubs over his head. So if that makes you feel better,
Ooh,
like
it does make me
legit
feel slightly better. Yeah.
snaps clubs. They both go to the same course. Love the guy. You guys might know who he is through like Hiller's video of my weird family. Neil is the one that is the club snapper. And he goes through many clubs a season. And Brett's always like, right when it's about to happen. And everyone is just like, just stay quiet. And you're all just like, you know what? This didn't happen. We're going to carry on. And he loses clubs like all the time.
It is a weird social, like, when somebody,
Yeah.
like, you can tell when somebody's having a bad day on the course, and like when somebody hits a poor shot, like the response is nothing. It's just like you just pick up your bag and start walking to your ball. Like you don't acknowledge it. Like for literally everybody's sake, and that's
100%.
Those are the customs and courtesies on the golf course.
Yeah, I have the funniest story.
Yeah. He snaps the club. It's like, yep, yeah, he just did that. I'm going to get my ball.
And he's a bigger guy. And the first time my other friend golfs with him, he's like, I will never forget this. We were on the 10th hole and he had made like 3 bad shots and you could tell he was already angry, but like did nothing about it. So then he made another shot, absolutely awful, snaps his club and then just starts charging at my friend with the broken club in his hand. He just starts walking aggressively towards my friend, and my other friend never met him before and is just like, this is the kind of guy that you would never want to get in a fight with. And he's just like looking at him and he's like, oh my God, like, do I stand still? Do I start running away? And then he just stood there and Neil comes charging up to him, puts his hand out at the 11th hole, shakes his hand and was like, it was wonderful meeting you, Brandon. I'm going home. And then just goes home.
Yep.
And he's like, that was the scariest moment of my life because he was like, I don't know if I'm getting punched, if I'm getting thrown off the course. Anyways, yeah, golfing is, I never golf counting score.
Wouldn't do it.
If I'm golfing,
stick
it's
with CrossFit.
just shooting
going
the
good
ball.
for
My life story right now, I took a week off or not even 5 days off CrossFit and I feel like extremely out of shape. So that's one thing. Not CrossFit related, but kind of CrossFit related. And the other one is I just got a new phone and my phone storage is already full. So I hate when that happens.
That kind of
Just
sounds
because
like
you-
you though.
So I don't
transferred
think I
everything?
have an iCloud. I don't think I have an iCloud. That's my problem. So I got to go to those Apple people and tell them to fix my phone.
The hack
You guys
for that,
ever-
and the thing that I guess it's a little bit different because we have a business account, but you can back up all photos and videos for free to Google Photos. So you like click the backup button, it sends them all there, puts them on the cloud, and then you just delete all of the pictures from your phone and they're in Google Photos.
See, I
don't know
got
how
to
much
do
it
something like
costs.
that.
It's like a business account, but it's way easier. 'Cause,
Yeah,
like,
see,
for
I got to do
instance,
something.
Eric, all of the photos and videos you send me on WhatsApp automatically
Yeah.
get downloaded to my photos. So
See,
then
I
just
just
send
take
it to
so
Google
many
Photos.
videos, like training videos and stuff. And then I'm like, oh my God, my storage is freaking full. And I'm like trying to go through it and clear my storage. But anyways, that's the problem of the week is my storage is full. So I got to go to Apple and try and figure
It
that
could be the
out.
problem of this podcast because Riverside records locally and then online. So you might just disappear at some point.
Honestly, it literally says device storage is running low. You should stop recording and free up device data. So if I disappear, that's literally just actively on my screen right now. So if I disappear, you know why? I'm out of storage. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
Hopefully. All right. So I wanted to have you on the podcast for kind of a specific reason. Whenever we do an interview, we get a decent amount of new listeners. So welcome to everyone listening. But we also have something like 500 misfits that listen every week. And I think it's important that they get to know our athletes. And just, in traveling with you recently and finally getting to meet you in person, I think you fit in with the Misfit crew. You were talking about McDonald's before. You potentially were extremely excited to finally go to Chili's and get mozzarella sticks.
I was so pumped.
You have a bit of a potty mouth. I would just say that you fit in with the group, and it would be cool for all of the misfits to kind of get to know you a little bit. So one of the things that we do to start an interview, if it's the first time, is we do the CrossFit origin story. Like, how did you end up doing CrossFit? Because if you go into your Games account, it looks like your first open was a decade ago. So you've been doing
that's
it for a
insane.
while.
Yeah, I can't believe I have been doing it for 10 years. I think this year was my 10th year because I think I started in 2014. But yeah, I started CrossFit because originally I was doing track full time, like all year round with a club. And there was a guy on my track team that was like shredded, like jacked. And I wanted to be jacked. So I went up to him and I was like, yo, what are you doing? Like, I know you're not just doing track, even though our coach didn't want us to do weight training. And he was like, oh, yeah, I do CrossFit on the side. Don't tell coach, like, whatever. So then I told my parents and I said, like, this guy's doing CrossFit on the side. He's really strong. I kind of want to look into it. And then my mom found a Groupon code online or something for a gym that's literally 5 minutes away from us. And we pulled up to the gym and I was like, I'm not going in there. It's a jail. Like, I was looking for like a bougie gym with like machines. It's all clean. And we're literally driving in like the back of this warehouse because that's literally where every CrossFit gym is like in the weirdest spot. And we're like pulling up and I told my mom, like, I'm not going in. And my dad was with me and he's like, we're going to go in. We'll tour it. If you don't like it, we won't go. So we go in, we start the tour. The guy's just giving us the lay of the land of the gym. And at the end, my dad's like, oh yeah, sign us up. And I like looked at my dad. I was like, I didn't agree to this. So then he signed up me, my dad, and my brother literally then and there. And we went to my first class. We had like the classic I think you had to do 6 intro classes at the time, and then you could get into normal classes. So I remember on my 6th intro class, I turned to this lady that I had become kind of friends with at the time. And I was like, okay, we're going to go to a normal class. We were both so scared to go to like a regular class because we thought those people were crazy. And I was like, we're going to go to a regular class together. It'll be fine. So I show up Monday, 5:30. The girl doesn't show. And I was so scared. And it was just me and my dad with like all these, at the time, I thought crazy people doing CrossFit. And then since then, I kind of never stopped. So it all started from a guy on my team that was jacked that did track.
What event did you do in track?
I was, at the time, I did 200, 400. And then as I started doing CrossFit, I went down to 100, 200 for about 2 years. And then I quit track after that.
Yeah, if you go to a gym that actually does back squat on a regular basis, the speed change is crazy. Like, it didn't happen for me.
100%. Like, it was crazy.
And
And at the time, my coach didn't want us to do weight training. I don't know her reasoning behind that because I think it's very beneficial, especially for sprinters.
It might be the most beneficial thing they could possibly do.
Yeah. So I was hiding it for her for years. And then she started seeing me put on like some mass. So she asked. And then that's kind of when I kind of had to choose between track or CrossFit. And I was like, yeah, I'm on to new things. And I enjoyed it a lot. But I noticed the biggest switch was like my speed in the 100 meter. Like, I was not doing 400 anymore. And I was getting so much better at 100, 200. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So it looks like your first, maybe you did some local stuff, but your first like really big competition was when you qualified for the games as a teen in 2018.
Yeah. I done
from like beginner's class to CrossFit Games. Like, what made you want to get into competing versus just taking class?
That's a good question.
Sometimes
At
it
the
just
time, yeah, like I was at the gym and the owner of the gym basically came up to me, I think after my first or second open, and was like, I think you could be pretty good at this. And I was like, he's like, you kind of have this look and like the way you're moving and like how you're attacking workouts. He's like, I think you could be pretty competitive at this. So then basically after that, I'm pretty sure I didn't really do much of my own individual program before the games. I think I did some supplement. Like, I know the owner of the gym was programming for me, but most of the time I was doing classes and just like really trying to do RX, like the adult RX, like I wasn't scaling. And I think from there, with a little bit of extra training, that was it. That was it. That's kind of what got me competitive, was him telling me that he thinks I could like do pretty decent at it, and I enjoyed it. So I was like, sure, I'll give it a try. I did a bunch of local comps with like teams and stuff, never really anything individual. And then I went to the games, and that was kind of my first ever big individual competition, which is crazy.
So from there, like two things that I notice were essentially a gap. So you go to the, and this is a pretty common story with teens. You go to the games as a
Mhm.
teen, and then sort of two things happen in 2023. You go team at the games, and
Yep.
you finish 29th in the world in the open. So there's kind of a couple of questions built in there, like what took place on the competitive side for you during that gap of those 4 years?
From the teen games to then the 29th in the open. Was
Yeah.
that 4 years?
Yeah, 19, 20, 21,
Wow.
22, those 4 years in between. So this is just, you're just plugging away, doing your thing. You still competing
No.
locally? Like, what was going
So
on
from
during that period?
from 2018, I remember after I finished the games, I said I was like, I'm done CrossFit. I didn't think I could get any fitter after the games that year, and I came like 12th or something, and I was like, you know what? Made it to the games. I had some fun, met some cool people. I think I'm done, like ready to move on. So then I went to university, and basically I would say 2019, 2020, 2021, I was a very leisure CrossFitter, not prioritizing it at all. I think I focused on partying a little too much in university, to be honest, and doing the classic university things. I lived on residence, and I was like going out. I hit up a CrossFit gym there occasionally, and I think I still did the open every year, like at home. I would come home occasionally. But then it wasn't until 2021 that I think it was 2021 or 2022. No, it was 2022 that gym owners in the area reached out and was like, "Hey, we want to create a team. Do you want to like start doing this competitively?" And then I was
Mm.
like, "Oh, sure." Like, I don't know if you really want me as a teammate because I'm not really good at CrossFit at the moment, but sure. So then I started training with them at their gym, and that's kind of what pushed me to get back into it at all. And then from there, it kind of started spanning into like I was getting better. I was trying to like chase my teammates and get like as good as them. And then I started getting good, and I was like, dang, I started beating them in workouts. And then I did 2 years of team and then transitioned to individual.
And what made you want to go from team to individual? Like, one of the reasons why I asked about the 29th in the world in the open is it
Yeah.
seems like you went individual after that. Like, did you feel like
Yeah.
there was some proof in your abilities based on the open, or
Yeah, I think I was just like, I was ready to test my fitness because with team, you're only as good as your worst athlete, like at the end of the day. So I was ready to just be like, you know what, I'm ready to like try as hard as I can and see where I can go with it. And kind of just because with the team, it's really fun and I loved training with the team and kind of like I feel like I'm very good at those kind of workouts where it's like work for short periods of time, rest, work, rest, that kind of thing. But then I was like, no, I'm kind of ready to try it on my own and see how far I can get. And that's kind of what started the spark of like trying to go individual.
so 2024 following year you qualify for your first individual semifinal, go to Syndicate Crown, take 17th place. You and I have talked about this a handful of times. It's a kind of an interesting situation because if you just back up and say, this is my progression through the years, like your game's site profile reads in the way of someone that just continues to get better year over
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
But there's this narrative surrounding the final event because you did so well in your first one at such a young age that then the
Yeah.
spotlight gets put on you.
Yeah.
So how do you feel now about 2024 Syndicate? Like, I'm interested to hear if that's changed at all. And you and I
Yeah.
have only been working together for a handful of months, and I know how you felt about it 4 or 5 months ago. But
Yeah. I would say my first year was like so successful, but at the time I thought it was an absolute disaster. But I also think I've changed so much within just a year, so I'm curious to see like what another year will look like. Do you know what I mean? Because I see the difference of myself from 2024 to 2025. So
right.
I'm like, wow, if I keep grinding at this, like I'm curious how far I can get. But I think it's just crazy because back before I thought of this first semifinal as like the biggest disaster and like worst performance I've ever had. But when you break the weekend down, like it really was a good weekend for me. It was just the last event that kind of put a sour taste in my mouth about the whole time. So I think, yeah, that's the main thing, is just before I looked at it as an awful weekend. And now I can kind of see it as like, wow, I actually competed. And like the competition there was insane last year. Like there was so many good athletes in our region at the time, like the East, like the last heat was stacked. So the fact that I was able to hang on was pretty cool.
Yeah, we had Brandon on last week, and the listeners know how I felt about it. That was the best CrossFit competition I had ever seen that was not the CrossFit Games. Hands down.
Yeah,
Not
like
even
it was
comparable.
stacked.
It was stacked, and like the level of parity where like you had to execute on such a high level in every workout, because like what would normally be 3 or 4 places was like 20 places. Like so many of
Yeah.
the scores were kind of jammed close together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I knew basically the only thing that I knew before you reached out to me about coaching was that you were potentially either in a qualifying spot or you were close, and then like the final event. So that was all that I knew.
Yeah.
But then you go
Yeah.
back and look at the entire weekend, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh wow, it's like you took top 10 in your first 2 events ever
Yeah.
at a semifinal
Yeah.
with that amount of talent in the rest of the division. So, and you and I have talked about it, like honestly, even the final, it's like maybe just not a very good strategy. And that's
Yeah. I didn't really have any strategies going into Syndicate. I had a few kind of ideas in mind, but that's what I mean by like, I think going in so naively, like I truly didn't really know what to expect. So I was like going into every event like, well, I guess like we'll give it a try and see what happens. And the first event was kind of the biggest eye opener for me, because I was running and like really hanging on with the top pack. And I just remember being like, holy crap, I'm actually doing this. Like I was just shocked. Every run, I was like behind Emma. And I just remember being like, we practiced this at a training camp, and I was getting my ass whooped. And I was like, this event is going to be awful for me. I'm going to get crushed. And then I was coming in on like the 3rd round, and I could see that I was like hanging on and feeling pretty good. And I just remember being like, I was so happy, because I was like, wow, I actually can compete with the best at this event, which is cool.
What would you
And that's
say is
like-
the?
Oh, go ahead, Hunter.
Oh, go ahead, Drew. I was just going to say, what do you think was the biggest difference? You said you saw a massive improvement from 24 to 25, and really not even like a full year.
Yeah.
What were those things that you felt like moved the needle the most for you? Because if anybody watches any of your videos, semifinals, whatever, they can see like you're extraordinarily strong and powerful.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what sort of things you felt like benefit you the best over the last year.
I would say the main 2 things was, one, working on the mental game, because I didn't even consider that as an aspect in 2024, and actually working on weaknesses. The year that I went to semis last year, or in 2024, I was just on like the Mammoth general track. So like it's kind of like a Misfit track. You aren't getting programmed personally. You just follow like a general track. I don't know if Misfit says this, but I don't think there's no personal weakness work. So you're just following a generic
Our
track.
entire business is built on personal weakness work, so we do.
Okay, so never mind. But Mammoth, how it worked was there's like just a general track. So if you're an elite athlete, or you think you're an elite athlete, you can follow this track, and basically you do tests. You put your numbers into this calculator, it spits out your numbers, and basically those are the numbers you use for the year until they retest. So I didn't really get to do or prioritize things that I really needed to work on, like handstand, overhead stability, that kind of stuff. So being able to kind of get a personal coach in that sense of like they program what I need to work on and kind of work around that, I think is my biggest change in 2025 of this year. But it kind of got a little bit messed up because I did a little bit of personal work with Josh. Then it kind of stopped for a little bit when I was in like that transition period, and then it started again. So I haven't really had a full year of the individualized like personal programming, which is what I'm excited for the most, because I think that will make the biggest difference, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
less than a year of that is like, and you made the jump that you made is pretty fucking nuts.
Yeah.
unique about your situation is, I mean, I'll let you answer this question. I don't know if you'll want to answer it in a public setting, but where would you rank yourself in the world for women in traditional CrossFit?
Right now,
Well, not like literally this second.
because I'm like, my fitness right now doesn't feel
2
good.
weeks ago. Couplets, triplets, 21-15-9s, burpees, box jumps, things of that nature.
Traditional CrossFit, I would say I'm up near the top for sure. As soon as there's like,
That's a diplomatic answer. So you're acknowledging that you're world class at that, but not
Yeah.
specifically saying. I think that's fair. And the reason I bring that up is just because in instances where that's not the case, what you're talking about, the whole like personalized program
yeah,
thing, isn't necessarily as like efficacious. It's not going to work in the same way for someone that's not there. You very much need things that are segmented away from CrossFit. And like
Yeah.
the closer we get to the season, of course, we go in and do that. But I always throw an asterisk up on conversations like this because your CrossFit base, like if we look at the hundreds workout, which was absolutely bonkers, your score, and then you do last chance qualifier, and I tell you that the clean and jerk double under workout is an 8.5 minute workout, and you did it in 7.5 minutes, but then the rest
Yeah.
of the leaderboard was 8.5 or slower. Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, like traditional CrossFit, I think I'm really good at, and I can kind of just turn my brain off and just do it. And it doesn't really feel like I'm thinking about it too much. And I think as soon as I start thinking about it too much, that's when I kind of get, I don't know, it gets harder. I think that's how it works. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's the way that I think on an individual level, everyone can acknowledge that. From the coaching level, what I talk about is building bridges. So like, here's a thing that you already understand and can do, and here's the thing that you
Yeah.
want to do. What could connect those two things? And it's
Yeah.
like, in my mind, it's like, hey, you can be tough physically, mentally, emotionally for 22 minutes straight of like
Yeah.
pure torture. That translates all the way across the board. It's about
Yeah.
bringing that same sort of mentality to different things.
Yeah.
And it's really more that you just learned how to do that within traditional CrossFit, probably because you've been doing it for a long time and you spent a lot of time in like traditional affiliate classes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's what you do. That's a lot of what you're used to. And
Yeah.
we've had some funny like notes on your aerobic work. Like your paces are crazy and you do really well, especially for your size. But it's like,
Yeah.
oh, fuck, I died, but I hit my
Yeah.
paces. Like it's like new stuff
Yeah.
coming your way when it comes to that.
Yeah. And I think I have
What
to
would-
get more comfortable with that stuff.
What would you say is the you alluded to like the biggest difference being the mental side and not really even considering that as part of like it's like
Mhm.
you know you get your strength, stamina, endurance, flexibility, all that sort
Yeah.
of stuff, but the mental side was not considered. Can you elaborate on what that looked like? Like
Yeah.
we just fell apart just mentally
Oh
not
yeah, like
super
even
tough or just like we don't know how to pace workouts, that sort of mental thing.
it was like at Syndicate, I could tell you I lost the last workout before it even started. Like day 3 started and I had 3 events in that day. Because Syndicate last year, even with how it was programmed, like day 1 was 1 event, day 2 was 2 events, day 3 was 3 events. So like there was so many points up for grabs on day 3. And going into day 3, my confidence and like my mental attitude towards the events were like down. Even though they were events that I could have excelled in if I just put my mind to it, I was like, you're gonna suck. No one's gonna like, you're gonna like drop 10 spots. And like I was getting in my head so much that I was like not staying confident. And then going into the last event, I literally could not control my headspace. I was going crazy because I think I was tied for the last spot going into the last event to make it to the games. So I just had to stay ahead of, I forget who it was, but I just had to stay ahead of them and I would have been fine. Like that was it. And I just remember going into the event and I was just like, you're going to fail. You're going to fail. And it's just like, as soon as that's in your head and you're putting it out there, like it's going to happen because you're thinking about it. So just changing my headspace going into events now and understanding that the competition is a lot longer than you think. So keeping your head in the game the whole time, it's still something I'm learning because even during last chance qualifier, I did the three events and I was not sitting in a great spot. And I was like, do I even want to do the rest? Like, I didn't really feel like I had that mental endurance. but I put my head back down and kind of got to it, which I think is a huge change from what I was like last year.
Yeah, I mean, going from not wanting to continue to just being like,
Yeah.
okay, like head down
Yeah.
and that's huge progress.
Yeah, especially from that last event last year. And I think even I remember Josh mentioned it to me before going into the last event. He was like, man, you just have to focus on 3 things and 3 things only. I don't even remember what he said. One of them was have fun. I remember that. I remember that one. And the 2 other things I forget, but I think he could tell I was like a head case in the back. Like I puked. I was a mess. So really trying to regulate that is huge.
Why did you go into day 3 just like with that mentality? Were the workouts bad? Were you tired? Were you sore? Were you like, was there a
few
reason?
Yeah, there was a few like external factors that I think didn't help. I was getting some feedback from some people that I think didn't help me at the time. And I was just kind of like the way they were wording it was like I had already failed. Meanwhile, if it was worded a different way, I probably could have taken it differently. Not only that, but like because I went off such a high at the beginning of the weekend, I just needed to be told, like, trust, you're still doing really good. But because I came 13th in an event, to me at the time, I was like, that's crap. What am I doing? Meanwhile, you should be like, you're literally still hanging around the top. Like, you should be proud of that. So it was kind of just how I interpreted results, I think, was the main thing.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of time, Hunter and I, having these conversations internally and on the podcast just about like who you bring with you to competitions, the way
Yeah,
that
it's
like
huge.
you give them access and when they have access, and then honestly even how you interpret, because like everyone here, everyone listening has a grandparent, parent, aunt, uncle who loves them to death that has said the stupidest thing to them, like
Yeah.
going into a and
At the
part of it
worst time.
is, yes, of course. And part of it is I watch this is very much like my personality in general, but I watch this from like, I stand back while the group of the entourage walks forward and the athlete walks forward. And it's this game of like chicken of each person in the entourage is trying to read the face of the athlete. Like, I thought they did well. They think they did bad. They're going to be mad about that side of it. I thought they did shitty. They were pumped with how they did. There's like so many different things, and I've watched it over the years, and you can tell when that wild card pops out, and I just want to be able to hit a mute button. Just
you just want to be like, shut up.
Yeah. Or it's like, hey, we're here, we love you, you're doing great, see ya. like that's what you want the case to be, but that's not always the case.
Yeah.
The thing that while you were talking made me think of was, I don't know if you remember what you said, but you mentioned being in a similar state going into the final this year.
Oh, yeah.
You kind of knew that, jumping from where you were to second would be like, maybe someone in the crowd started shooting people with paintballs or something like that.
Yeah, literally.
And you take first. But you went out there and we had a plan. I also think it's important that you had input in that plan from the testing phase. I always think that the buy-in of a plan when it's both people goes really well. But you went out there and you took 5th place in that workout. And to think of a workout where, like, honestly, not that bad until you walk back to that sandbag. At 100%. That point, if you're not in the right headspace, fuck. Like, that's about as bad as it gets.
That's a shitty workout.
You took 5th place. Like, what happened? How did you reconcile that you weren't feeling the best? You know what I mean? We didn't get the same amount of workout, the same amount of warm-up time because they had jammed it close together. Like, how did you go out there and execute in that headspace?
Honestly, I don't even remember because I remember in the corral, I was thinking like, wow, I was really not even thinking about anything at that time. And I think that's the key for me is like when I'm able to shut my brain off and literally just complete the work, knowing what rep scheme I'm going to do. I think that is like the key for me because I remember 3, 2, 1, go went. And like, I wasn't even frantic, but like I looked and I saw I didn't even move my ring muscle up. I didn't even move the mat under the rings for the ring muscle ups. And I remember standing at the cone looking and I was like, wow, I didn't even move the mat and I'm going to have to now do that mid workout. Like, that's not great. But I wasn't even emotional about it. I think because I was so tired that I was just like, you know what, we're just going to get it done. So I remember thinking like, okay, that's going to add a little bit of transition time. And then 3, 2, 1 went. And I just stuck to our plan and kind of did what we needed to do. And I just remember thinking, going back to the sandbag, what you said about your grip's going to be tired, so you just have to make sure to really get underneath it and use your legs. And that's kind of all I was thinking about, because all that other stuff was kind of like a buy-in for the sandbag at the end. So I was just thinking, be efficient
I
on the
fucking told
sandbag
you.
at the end and grip your hands under that thing and use your legs, and it worked. But I think my brain was just literally shut off, which is kind of like the opposite of what it was in 2024. It was like literally couldn't be more frantic.
I mean,
And
to
that's
me, from like a
another. You're good. I'm good.
we're doing so good at this. No, from like a, I mean, from a psychological perspective, that's just like,
Yeah.
to me, all it sounds like is like when you're, it's the reason, like part of the reason they, you know, someone recommend exercise for someone with anxiety, because like if you're
Yeah.
working hard enough, you literally, it's impossible to think about external factors or think about
Yeah.
yourself, which is like the equivalent of being, you know, anxious or depressed and whatnot. And like when you're exercising, like you literally, you're just not capable of thinking about anything other than like what's happening in the moment, which is, you know, the
100%.
goal of like meditation, right? So like just
Yeah.
having that one, you know, 0 to 1 things to think about. It's just like, no, it's like, this is the only thing that exists right now. And even in your head, like that's a pretty cool, like little, like self conversation of just like, I will need to move this later. That was
Yeah.
bad. And then just like you keep going. It's just like very,
Yeah.
very much just like acknowledge, like that was literally like meditation, right? It's just like acknowledgement of
Yeah.
something that like it doesn't need to be good or bad. It just kind of like is
No.
there, and I acknowledge
Yeah.
it, and like I just keep going. So it's for other people listening, it's like that's, you know, that's kind of what's happening, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, that's another one of those things that becomes a bridge to figuring out how to do the same thing in a different circumstance. Like,
Yeah.
there are so many things within CrossFit where your body is, I mean, honestly, I don't even have the comprehension for what competitive CrossFit has turned into from like a physical standpoint. Maybe it just feels the same because everyone's fitter and stronger. Like the tricks, or your body's not built, your body and mind are not built in connection with one another to go out and crush CrossFit. You have to rewire that situation. It wants you
Yeah.
to remain alive and healthy. So when you get that signal, like one of the easiest ones is when your forearms are torched and you put your hands under a sandbag because you're in wrist flexion, like it feels really bad. Like it
Awful.
feels like you can't pick it up off the ground. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, actually, that is by far the easiest part of a sandbag clean, right? Is lapping it, like getting it to that point. So can you override and be like, the signals I'm getting are from the muscle ups, the ring muscle
Yeah.
ups, from the bar muscle ups. And in actuality, I need to get wrapped around this thing once it's in my lap and use my legs. And
Yeah.
like, oh wow, that actually works. That's a real thing. When I'm in another situation and my body is trying to tell me one thing, or the narrative is I believe this, can I override that and just do the other thing?
Yeah.
And that's why I think you know, going through and giving it everything you've got through the final event, and then things like finishing last chance, even though you didn't want to, are actually more important for you than if the stars had aligned and you get to go to the CrossFit Games, because you're
Yeah.
already physically on the level clearly of a CrossFit Games athlete. And
Yeah.
the only way to work on that mental side is to continue to put yourself in situations that you would have not wanted to be in the past. And
Yeah.
like overcome those things.
Yeah.
So while in the moment, not as much fun as you know, maybe there's like an expectation there, I really do think that those moments will be the ones that you look back on in a few years and say like, I'm glad I went through that because I found out that I could deal with it.
Yeah. 100%. And just doing more things that are uncomfortable, I think, is huge for me too. Like even doing that thing with Hiller that I did, whatever, on Monday and Tuesday of last week with Tyson. Like even just climbing a freaking wall, I did not want to do that stupid workout where you had to like carry your partner and like.
Tell Hunter what the workout was.
It
It's
was
a 78-minute AMRAP or something.
Yeah, it was a 76-minute AMRAP, and this was day 2 after last chance qualifier.
76.
We were 76 minutes. Never done an AMRAP that long. You were with a partner.
Sorry, I can't even get past that. Was there a reason for the 76 minutes?
It was
Like,
a
why
guy's
wasn't it
birthday.
75? Wasn't it? Okay, all right.
Yeah, it was a guy's birthday, but he wasn't even 76, so I don't understand where we got the 76
Was he
from.
born in 76? Would you say he's about 50?
No, he was in his 30s.
Huh. All right.
Maybe it was
All
like
right,
30.
go on.
Is he 34? Wait, what's 33 times 2? 76?
66.
Okay, well, never mind.
Close. Tried.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, 76-minute AMRAP, 38 dumbbell snatches at 50 pounds while your partner's doing 30 burpees. No, 38 burpees. Then you switch. So you're working, you're doing the burpees, and they're snatching. Then after that, you do 38 wall climbs. So you climb this stone wall, stand tall at the top, jump down. And the stone wall was like 6'3" feet. Then
Okay.
after that, you did a 500-meter run with your partner. And then after that, you did a 500-meter partner carry. So you literally had to carry the person you were working out with for 76 minutes. So
That was one
again,
round?
that was one round. We did 4. So I went into that workout and I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to climb this stupid wall. I don't want to lift this. I want to use a 35-pound dumbbell, not a 50-pound dumbbell. Like all these things that I was just like, I don't want to do this right now. But once I finished it, it was like one of those things where it's like, okay, now I know how to carry someone and I know how to climb a wall if I have to. So those are, I feel like, very crucial things that
Sure.
are good for like games level stuff. So I think just doing things that are out of my comfort zone and are more just like things that I don't actually want to do are pretty good at growing as an athlete in different ways.
You mentioned Hiller. He lives in infamy in the CrossFit space.
Yeah.
I've had the pleasure of being friends with a lot of people in the media community, sort of the media side of the CrossFit community over however many years. And what's funny about his reputation is people who watch some of his YouTube videos thinks he's an asshole. And then every person that I know that has met him in person and spent more than a few minutes with him says he's great and like super polite and like a really nice guy.
Oh yeah.
So it seems like you've developed a friendship with him over the last year or so.
Yeah, he's actually very,
is he a
very
misunderstood
nice
person?
I think so, personally. Like we were literally hanging out. We watched. Have you guys seen The Substance, the movie? Most movie I've ever seen. Don't watch it. I don't recommend it all. Hiller recommended this movie because he's a huge movie guy and he's like, we should watch this movie. It's awful. So don't go to him for movie recommendations. But he's a great guy. I think he's really cool. He has a lot
The Substance, the one they take the thing and become younger.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's weird. It is
stuff.
the weirdest movie I've ever seen. But anyways, he has a lot of like he's just been in the space for so long, so he has so much knowledge on like all that kind of stuff, and I think that's stuff that I need to know like growing in the space because I don't know much, if I'm going to be honest, about CrossFit aside from like the workouts that I do every day. I'm trying to get more involved in it and like understanding the past and how it's evolved and stuff. But like I feel like I'm very much still new to like understanding, the Rich Froning moment of like the rope climbs they said. And that kind of thing. I'm still unaware of all that stuff. So he's a good person to have to like share all that information and share that knowledge with me, which is cool.
You also got to play pass. I'm very jealous. You got to play pass with an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, I did. And I did pretty good.
I'm going to need you at some point. I'm going to need you guys to hook that up. I have to throw a football with an NFL quarterback, especially a CrossFitting NFL quarterback.
Who was it?
Just die. Tyson Bagent.
Never heard of him.
He's
We've
on the
talked
Bears.
about him on the podcast before. His dad.
He's dead. Yeah, no.
Also,
his dad is a legend.
His dad is wild. You haven't seen any of the arm wrestling stuff that like Sevon used to film? Dude's like a 12 trillion time left arm, right arm world champion arm wrestler.
Man.
He's also a fucking character.
He is the funniest. He's
dad.
so funny.
Yes,
the dad is
He used to
hilarious.
gamble on CrossFit events in the VIP section at the CrossFit Games back in the day.
He's
He was
wild.
He was an announcer back then. I feel like you would recognize his voice or his name if you saw it, Hunter.
So funny.
But his kid did CrossFit his entire life and is now a NFL quarterback. So like that whole thing where we say things like, dude, if I'd found CrossFit before
there's
high
the
school
proof.
sports, exactly. There's the proof. He is very large and can throw a football very far. So part of it might have to do with him.
Yeah. But I think also Travis was just like, I'm going to raise elite athletes. Like, I think that was his mentality because like he is truly
talk
like
about him being a professional athlete in the videos when Tyson was a child, that CrossFit.
Yeah. Like you could tell like the nature and nurture, like he was ready to like be a dad and like truly create like insane children, like just insane at sports. Like his other kid, his younger son, Ezra, he's also playing football at Shepherd's University, where Tyson went, also as a quarterback. So it's like, I just feel like he's so committed to like helping them become the best version of themselves as athletes, which I think is huge.
That's cool.
So that was pretty cool. Yeah.
All right. So what do you have coming up? Like, where will people see you? Are you competing before the 2026 season? Like, what are your plans upcoming?
Yes. So I've got a competition in July, so I got to stay in shape and not become a complete blob. I have a competition in end of July in Quebec called the Super Games. And then after that, I think I want to go to the games to spectate. I think that would be cool, especially it being in a new location in New York.
Not that far away from you, Albany.
It isn't? I don't think it is. No.
It's northern New York, and you're southern.
Yes.
Is that real?
Yep.
There you go.
Perfect. Yeah,
Okay.
if it's not, I don't know where, if I'm driving down, I don't know anything yet, but I think I'd like to go to the games to spectate. That would be cool. And then what was I doing? High Rocks in October, beginning of October. Gonna put the running shoes on and run a High Rocks. And then end of
It's
October.
agreed as a training day. There's no
Yes.
High Rocks prep.
No High
You will
Rocks
go
prep.
Show up at High Rocks and do it.
I'm not prepping for it because then I'm going to do a competition end of October, Crash Crucible, which I think will also be a good challenge.
Yeah. Hunter, same guy that programmed semifinals, but does when it's his own gym and his own competition. He does things
he has
like
wild
he's done
stuff.
the bar muscle ups on the non-fixed pull-up bar.
Oh,
He's done like the like log version of the stairs where you have to walk over them and then he'll stand them up and you got a handstand walk between. Like he just does some kind of wacky stuff, and we know that those events for Erica are the ones that are going to present the challenge more than the traditional stuff. And I thought it was really cool that you basically said, Erica, like that's why I should do it. Which I think
like it's uncomfortable.
Ego would be like, I'm not fucking going there.
Yeah, and that's why, like, that is me. Truly, in my head, I'm like, my ego is like, don't go there. There's a potential to fail and like make a fool of yourself, whatever. But I'm like, I think that's why I want to do it, because I'm like, it's gonna be scary, but there's a lot of growth that I think could happen at that competition if he throws in some wild card stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Any final thoughts? Any final questions, either of you?
I don't think so. I think I don't got much thinking right now, to be honest. My dog's I am 24, turning 25 in September.
Feel old?
I know.
Yeah, no shit.
How old are you? How old are you, Hunter?
How old do you think I am?
I'm thinking 28.
Perfect. Final thoughts complete. We'll leave it at that. There it is.
No,
I'm
30.
34.
I don't know. How old do you think I am?
We talked about this. You said 30.
All right, now the podcast is really over.
He said 32.
Dude, here are my final thoughts. I've been doing this that was my 15th regionals / semifinals, 15 years in a row, which is just, first of all, too much for
insane
to comprehend. Actually, that means that I started when you started CrossFit. No,
yeah.
She was 10.
I was 10.
That doesn't seem right. I think my math's out there. But we go to Syndicate this year, and for the first time ever, we're sitting at a dinner table, and I am clearly the oldest person there by years. So everyone's going around in a circle, like, how old do you think I am? How old am I? Like playing this game, and I'm like, I don't know what I want the answer to this question to be. And I feel like most of the guesses were between 30 and 35. And I was like, am I old enough now that I want someone to say that I look that age? Like, there's a certain point where it flips, I think, for a guy. Like, when you're young, you want people to say that you're, mature or whatever, you're a little bit older. And now maybe I'll take that as a compliment. I am 39 years old. I am 1 year away from the big 4-0.
You got to do a big selly for 4-0.
Oh, I will.
That's huge.
Big Selly. I feel like that's your ideal Selly.
That's one of them. It'll be, I do in the vicinity of my birthday. One of the reasons is because like everyone in my family, for some reason, an extended family is born around the same time. Like my son has the same birthday as me.
What?
Which honestly is good because then I can push the attention onto him. which is
Yeah, you're like, please, no.
Yeah,
That's like my
but
dad. My dad's the exact same.
within the confines of my birthday, I've always had to do what I internally refer to as a Drew day, where there's no work. I wake up, I see if I can eat, how many bagels I can eat, things of that nature, do whatever the fuck I want. I need that near my birthday because the amount of like, especially when you're younger, the amount of attention's like, all right, everybody fucking take it easy.
Yeah, no drinking at all on your birthday. You got to get drunk a little. I drank on what day was it? Saturday. I puked 3 times.
No.
Yeah, it was awful. It was awful.
That's
Went to a concert. We went to a concert. It was fun. Everything was fun and games until we went back to their house. And I was like, everyone's doing shots because we're going out. And it was like 12 at this point, and we just started taking shots. And you know when you hit that point of no return where your mouth is just like I definitely didn't have to puke, but my mouth just started watering. And I was like, you know, it's probably best if I just go to the bathroom and see what happens. So then I went, puked once, came back down, was sitting there, and I was like, no, gonna go back up, puked again. Then I went back down. I had a slice of pizza, and then it just came right back up. So it's definitely first time drinking in a long time, and I paid for it for sure.
I mean, that honestly, I think of that now and it makes me feel old, but also I think about 24 years old. That's what I was trying to say. I was 24 years old when I started. It's the same age as you are right now.
Okay, I see what you said.
I knew there was something. That sounds like something that would happen to me when I was 24 years old.
Yeah, I feel like you have to do it. There's a balance, you know. You can work out a lot, but at the end of the day, everyone's got to puke from drinking too much. At least once.
I don't think we should keep going. I think
those are good final thoughts. Yeah. That's it.
Thank you for tuning into another episode of the Misfit podcast. You can head to the link in bio on our Instagram and sign up for our programming on Strivey or Fitter. If you're looking for affiliate programming, you can head to teammisfit.com, click on the sign up now button, and you get 2 weeks for free on StreamFit, Push Press, and Sugar WOD. The Wolf phase for Misfit affiliate starts on Monday, July 7th, so make sure you get signed up before then. Sharpentheaxeco.com for our new logo, tees, and hoodies. Thanks again, Erica. We'll see everybody next week.
Thanks for having me.
See you guys.
Misfits.
All right, you ragtag bunch of misfits.
You're a scrappy little misfit, just like me.
Biggest bunch of misfits I ever set eyes on.